Hi everyone, this is Joseph from English with Joseph. Today is Sunday, so I thought I would take a moment to talk to you a little bit about religion in the English-speaking world. Well, there are many Christian groups in England, but England is one of the countries which has a state-sponsored religion, and that denomination is called the Church of England. Our government funds the Church of England through the taxpayer. The bishops sit in our House of Lords, which is one of our senior government bodies for making the law. The interesting thing about this is that it's quite unique. I don't think there's any other countries in Europe now who sponsor their church. Even though England is a secular country, and we often hear that the church and state is separate, it clearly isn't when our government is funding it with cash. And one of the reasons why it does that is because our Queen is its head. And also, if we want to marry or have any ceremony, we are welcome to go to the Church of England, and they cannot refuse to marry someone who goes to them. So you could see it like a department of the government which looks after moral affairs. The government tend to distance itself from religious decisions in order to have some kind of secular view on society. One big problem for the Church of England at this moment is the issue of homosexuality. The Church of England has not been able to agree with the government's decision to allow people to marry. And therefore, at this moment, there is a big debate going through not only the English-speaking world, but also through the colonies which belong to England or have belonged to England in the past. The Church of England is one body. However, it exists in different colonies and countries under different names. And this larger group, which is part of the Anglican Church in some way, is known as the Anglican Communion. The Anglican Communion is a very interesting body because it's not like a church where they report into a pope. It's the idea that they agree on certain things, and that's what holds them together. The man in charge of the Church of England is called the Archbishop of Canterbury. And the Archbishop of Canterbury can make decisions about the Anglican Church, but he cannot make any decisions about the Anglican Communion. So every church remains distinct and unique, but they all agree on some tenet of faith. Because of the issue of homosexuality, the church is more divided. And these days, there has been a big debate with the Episcopal Church of America, and also the churches which participate in the Anglican Communion in Africa. The Episcopal Church in America endorses and is very comfortable and happy with the issue of homosexuality. However, the Church of England itself in England is not, and it cannot agree on this issue. And although it cannot agree on this issue, it's trying very hard to open up a dialogue about it. So last week, the Episcopal Church, which is very happy with homosexuality, was asked to leave the Anglican Communion for a while. The Episcopal Church of America has been suspended for 3 years because they ordained an openly gay bishop, and their laws allow men and women to marry each other. The Church of England itself is still considering this matter very carefully, and it has to be very careful because many African countries do not respect our government's decision over homosexuality, and in some countries it's actually a crime. In the UK, because it's not a crime, the government have said that churches can make their own decisions as to whether they want to go ahead with ceremonies for homosexual people. Some of them have said yes, they will. Some of them have said no, they will not. And the Church of England is currently discussing this issue widely. But it seems inevitable that at some point in the future they will allow this to happen. Because of their tradition and because of their link to the government, the pressure which is upon them to do this is very great. But there's also other big decisions for them, like the idea of having women bishops. The Church of England is very interesting because it has lots of churches who are connected to it and linked into it, who do not hold its mainstream beliefs. It's better to think of the Church of England as having a number of departments, and no matter what you believe, you can find a place in there. Because Anglican churches, that's what we call the Church of England, all differ in flavour and style. Some of them are very, very evangelical, and it's like some kind of gospel experience. But others of them are very, very Catholic, and with some of them it's very hard to know if you're in a Roman Catholic church, or as some of them like to be called, an Anglican Catholic church, because they look the same and they have the same Mass, and this causes a lot of confusion for a lot of people. There are many other churches in the UK also. We have churches for everything, but the Anglican Church is the only one that our government sponsor, and the Queen is technically its head, although she leaves all of the decisions to the Archbishop of Canterbury. Because of all of this discussion on things like women bishops and also women priests and also homosexuality, many Anglican priests have decided that they no longer want to be in the Anglican Church and that they would prefer to be in the Roman Catholic Church, which isn't really a big difference for them, because those priests, probably the way they conduct their services, are very close to the Catholic Church anyway. One big difference, though, is some of these priests are married. So, the last Pope, who was Pope Benedict, he decided that he would try to help this situation. So he created a window, and he said to all of the priests in the Church of England, if you want to join the Catholic Church, you can at this moment, and bring as many people as you want. And many priests did this. Many priests joined the Catholic Church, and even though they are married, they are allowed to say Catholic Masses, and they are allowed to be respected and fully participate in the life of the church. So now we have married priests who are Catholic and unmarried priests who are Catholic, all in the Roman Catholic Church. It's a little bit confusing, and I'm still very confused when I see a married priest, because I think, how can a priest be married? Because when when I was growing up, and even now, I know that priests are not allowed to marry. In different parts of the UK, it's a little bit different. In Wales, for example, they have the Church of Wales, but that also is part of the Anglican Communion. So it's not owned by the Church of England, but it's very heavily linked to the Church of England. And then we have the Church of Ireland, which is the same. It's also part of the Anglican Communion, but it's called the Church of Ireland. And then we also have the Church of Scotland, and it's very different. It has a very different idea about religion, and it remains as a very different entity from the other churches in the UK. And then, as well as this, we have so many other churches, such as the Seventh-day Adventists, and so many more, Baptists, and all of these. Well, I hope that tells you something about religion in the UK today. Not very many people go to church anymore, but the church still educates people. There are many faith-run schools, such as the Church of England schools and the Roman Catholic schools. English people depend on the church to teach them morality, and this is very different from countries like China and Russia. So even though some people don't go to church and they don't like church and they never ever go anywhere near it, the church has still taught them morality. So maybe it's doing a good thing. I'm not sure what the future holds for churches in the UK. Many of them are closing because people don't go to church anymore. Some of them become pubs and bars and restaurants, and that's very strange to go into these buildings, because these buildings are protected by law. And because they're protected by law, it means that the new owner, for example the restaurant, can't change the windows, and he can't remove some of the other things about the church. So there's tables and chairs and the bar and wine glasses, but on the floor there's old graves, and on the walls also, and on some of the windows they have pictures of Jesus. It's very strange for me, especially since I remember some of these buildings as churches and now see them as pubs and restaurants. I think it's a bit disrespectful. There's other places also where the same thing has happened, but these churches don't often become restaurants and bars or pubs, they become mosques. And that's a very strange thing, to see a church becoming a mosque. Well, religion in the UK is changing, and depending on the faith that you were raised with, may affect your idea. Scotland still has some problems with religion because they're always fighting between the Protestants, those are the people who are not Catholic, and the Catholics. Part of the reason for this is because we have segregated schooling. We have a church, the Roman Catholic Church, which was illegal in Scotland until 1840 or 1850, and they have their own school network. But then we have the people who are not Catholic, and they have their own school network. So we live in communities that don't really know each other or know about each other, and it's very sad, and it causes a lot of problems in some parts of the UK. In Ireland, it's still a very big problem, and they're unable to deal with this issue very well. Well, I will finish now. It's very nice to see you again, and thank you for watching. So until the next time, bye bye.